Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm your host. And joining me, as always, is my go-to podcast compadre, Mr. Joe Lever. Joe, how are you this evening, my friend?
Thanks, Jimmy. Coming to you live from downtown LA at our red carpet events.
Oh, yes. I see that you're live from a room, no less. Is this a backdrop, Joe? Does it make it look like it's your actual house, but it's actually you're on the street?
No. Yeah, we're on the street. We're at the event location. Tom, over here. Hey, Tom. No, leave the photographers over here. It's critical reviews. Come on.
Wait, this is Tom Cruise that's walking up for this? I mean,
Tom, son of a, I missed him, man.
That's okay. He's probably just going into the show. He's gonna watch us do the show on the monitors very shortly here. I'm sure he's just watching.
Amber Heard, over here from Aquaman. Come here. Couple questions. Critical reviews.
We don't have to say critical reviews. This is our show, Joe. They have to.
No, screw US Weekly. Critical reviews over here.
Did you get her? She's not coming over, is she?
It's our own award show, and we got the worst spot in line for PR.
Well, I figured we want pictures of them, and then we're just going to hand out awards, so we don't have to ask them the questions beforehand, right?
I just want to meet him, man.
Okay, well, next year.
Jason Momoa.
Uh-oh, we lost him. Jason Momoa is very alluring to Joe. I'm surprised he actually came back at all. Joe, did you talk to Jason?
He's got some big security guards, Jimmy.
That's true, but they're not as big as he is from the pictures I've seen. It's like, who's protecting whom?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't make sense either, but yeah.
That's okay.
Didn't even look at me.
Yeah, don't worry about it, buddy. But I hope you're doing well. Thank you for covering the event live like that, even though I'm also live and people are watching us. Hi to everyone in our audience there. I bet it's pretty full in there, I would say. Well, a couple thousand people watching tonight?
2,121 and a half to be exact.
I'm so sorry.
Half, it was a horrible incident. We'll leave that alone.
Okay. All right. I was going to ask about the half, but don't need to anymore. That's fine with me. Totally fine.
So obviously not live on location, but it was a funny little skit, right?
Yeah,
so,
it was.
This year's Critties, Jimmy. It's been a good year, huh?
It's been a great year. It's been great for movies. It's been great for games. We've just been lucky all around for the most part. And thankfully, the last few years that we've been doing this, Joe, it seems like there's always a good amount, a glut, as you would say, of just great things. You know, it's just we're not really like kind of reaching the bottom of the barrel and kind of just pulling the scum off of it. It's like, no, these are actually like really high caliber things, and it seems like we keep getting them, which is good. But we also have some pretty horrible stuff still as well that we'll get to, because this award show, well, if you've never joined us before, this is the Critical Reviews Awards. We give out awards for movies and games, things like that. We call them the Critties. So the hashtag for this show is #Critties. So if you do watch it, please tweet us that, because we want to know. I know one person's been doing it.
Y''S?
Yes, it is just like this one right here. You don't have to put the apostrophe, though, because it gets weird with hashtags like that. But this is Critties, Crittys. There you go. Not IES, YS. It's easier for you. Anywho, Joe, I think we should get right into it. Are you ready to start giving out awards here?
I do believe I am, Jimmy.
Okay, excellent. Well, we're gonna kind of ping pong back and forth. Also, a little bit of like one ground rule we want to lay here. This is we kind of voted on these together, and we also didn't want to nominate or talk about anything we didn't play personally. So if there are some things that don't get mentioned, we didn't play every game and see every movie, just so you know, because
Although we try,
and honestly, for a lot of these award shows, they didn't play every game and watch every movie. So I'm just saying, this is just very critical, honest feedback. Anyway, let's start with
what was from us, nominations up from us. We have a little bit of outside influence, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, you always do. We have the only the bias of our own personal lens, as it were. Anywho, we're moving on. All right. First one, we added this in a little last minute, but it's something that we really want to give a nod to some of these games, because this is a really cool category, and one I think we should try to keep in all the time. Best in overall detail. Mm-hmm. The nominees are Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Monster Hunter World. Best in overall detail. in a game, we should say. Be specific here, not for movies and games.
Well. Before we crack the seal on that envelope, Jimmy, beautiful envelope as it may be, do we need to get into it a little bit? I mean, why these 3 games? Why are they nominated? I think it's pretty crystal clear.
Okay,
but if you haven't played them yourself, let's give the viewership a little background.
Okay, well, fair enough. Okay, fine.
Starting off with one of your choice. Go.
Let's start with God of War. I think God of War has an incredible amount of detail. Not only is this a technical masterpiece because it doesn't have any loading screens at all, they kind of mask them in a smart way, but every little nook and cranny of the game seems to have been touched by human hands, as it were. It's all finely crafted, and you could stop at any moment and take a picture of whatever surrounding you're in, and it could basically be a wallpaper. And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, this game deserves, like, just the nod for being like, oh man, there's a lot of good detail in this game. Joe, how about you, man? What are one of the other 2 that really, like, what is it about Red Dead or Monster Hunter that just speaks to you about detail?
Well, Jimmy, you've played more of each of these games than I have, but one that I'll touch on shortly because I don't know, I like to say I'm pretty passionate about it. I like the style. I like the relatability of it. Red Dead Redemption 2. I think the Wild Wild West is something, an environment / aura that is never given its limelight. You used to get it in the old time Westerns and everything, and I enjoy a lot of those. I think a lot of people did for a while. Nowadays, there isn't really a spot in the limelight for Westerns anymore, it seems. Okay. Every once in a while you get some obscure thing, but it just doesn't work well. But to have a video game that's kind of based in that era is kind of exhilarating, especially, us being, Midwest Americans, we kind of relate to it even more so than the greater demographic. But, that lawlessness or even the presence of law in the Wild Wild West and the battle back and forth between good and bad is like kind of a thing of legend for, a young kid coming up in America, always, seeing the old Western tales and whatnot. So Rockstar took this game and, I know the first one was good and everything. They took this one and they just freaking climbed the ladder, man. They made something that is very profound. I often found from, controllability, the actual mechanics of controlling, say the horse you're riding or, climbing something, or actually when you're hunting, skinning an animal. Yeah, sometimes you get annoyed with, oh, do I have to watch this animation again? But then you think about, man, I'm watching this animation again. It looks so cool. And the way, the aesthetics of like the creatures and animals and the way they interact with the environment and walking through snow in the mountains that's as deep as your horse's knees, the way everything works together and makes you literally stop mid-mission and just look around at stuff. If a game can make you do that,
that's really good, man. Oh man, I like the glasses thing at the end. That really sells it.
All right, well, there's my 2 cents on one of the 3. Jimmy, how about Monster Hunter World? I know you're passionate about this one. Lay it on us.
Yeah, so Monster Hunter World still surprises me with its detail. Stuff like looking at the job board or the quest board. When you look at it, it's like a stretched skin of a monster, and there's like a horn or 2 or tusk that kind of hold this thing together. Or looking at the big plate of food you get after you order a big delicious warm meal from the Meowscular chef, or going out into the world and seeing how these creatures not only have so much detail in themselves, but also how they interact with everything around them. And that even though these worlds and these areas that you go into aren't necessarily open worlds, allows them to focus in and make sure that the interactions that these creatures have with one another or with the environment around them is highly detailed, and finding out little keys to strategies or things that work really well on these monsters, or things that are offered to you in the environment that are actually there the whole time, just make you a better hunter and make you want to like dive into the world even more and just kind of run around it in a free expedition mode to say, okay, if I fight it here, I can do this, or I can use this slope, or I can use these berries to offset this thing that it does. it's just so cool. And I love that because it contextualizes the details, because a lot of games have like really, really good details that look really nice. But in Monster Hunter World, it looks pretty good. Maybe not as highly detailed as some of these other ones, but it gives you a reason to want to try and get everything, because all of it serves a purpose. Nothing is there superfluous. It's there for a reason. And that is why I think, it should be nominated for this category. And on top of that, the menus are even cooler, because you have these cool menus that you open up and you can like look at the monsters like these kind of hand drawn in like a book. Like your menu is a book. That's so cool. Like looking at these monsters and figuring out their weaknesses and all the things you can get from them, the chance for them to drop stuff, and that stuff gets better over time as you hunt these monsters more and more. Makes a lot of sense. Detail and everything, even the base. It's amazing, and that's why it deserves a nod at least for this the details category, because it's so good. It's good. All right, there we go. I waited on Monster Hunter, Joe. I think it's time to show. I think it's time to show it off. Who won the Critty here? Are you ready?
Show it off. Lay it on us.
All right, and the Critty goes to.
I can't do a drum roll.
That's okay. Red Dead Redemption 2. All right. So, yes, there you go, Red Dead. You can pick up your award soon. Okay, so all of these games have really good detail, and I don't think we need to justify each one because we kind of talked about it a little bit before. But I have to agree with Joe. The detail, and I always tell this story, but the beginning of the game, in a firefight in the snow, icicles hanging down. I was shooting at a guy past the house, and I hit an icicle, and it like dropped that specific icicle I'd shot through, because I was like, oh, I don't know if I'll hit this thing, and I shot through it. It fell, and then I could shoot the guy behind it. And just trudging around in the snow, just like that opening bit is already like, look at the detail. Look at the detail in these rooms, and picking stuff up at one at a time is a little annoying, but it makes sense. And you really appreciate it when you can pick up like a can of like corn or coffee, and you can like look at that, and you're like, wow, oh my gosh. And the menus in that game are also like so good. The catalogs look so cool. Like, yeah, we can go on and on about the detail in Red Dead Redemption 2. We already have, but there you go. All right, Joe. Our next. Oh, goodness. Well, he's excited. Joe, this next one is one that hits near and dear to your heart, but this is the best shooter category.
What the heck's a shooter? What?
I don't know. It's this game where you just have a gun and stuff. You shoot at things, and typically we usually like kind of relegate it to first-person shooters, because if we ever have a year we have too many first-person and third-person, we kind of split them up. But this year it's just shooter. The three nominees are all first-person shooters. But Joe, how about you tell us a little bit about this?
Just signing some autographs here, Jimmy.
For whom?
I don't know, people.
Oh, that's fine. That's okay. You don't have to worry about that.
All right, I'm kidding. All right. So best shooter. That doesn't really sound like something that's up my alley, right?
No.
Not up my alley. Okay, up my alley. Just a little. Okay, a lot. So yeah, I am obviously a self-proclaimed bro gamer. If it's got guns, I can shoot stuff, I'm in, right? Typically, that's kind of my wheelhouse. So Call of Duty, yeah, Battlefield, games of that nature. Overwatch, although Overwatch blends some other cool things in there. All games that kind of fall in the genre of my wheelhouse and stuff that we would consider nominating. So we've been, I don't know, were we spoiled this year with shooters, Jimmy?
I feel like
people would say so.
Not as much. I think 2016 was a year that was a little more like we were spoiled with, because that year we had Titanfall 2 and Overwatch. And I felt like that year it was just, and that year also had, I think one of the Battlefields came out. Was it Battlefield 1 that came out that year? And they like came out right before Titanfall, and then Call of Duty also came out that year. And it was like, why are you doing this to your sales? But that year felt like, wow, we got a lot of shooters. Like shooters.
Yeah, true. Well, whoever's gonna win this Critty, I'm decorating the envelope for him right now. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of you, Joe. Well, that's because you care about this one specifically.
I do. Nice. I wanted it to be a little special. I'm gonna give him some stars on there and whatnot.
Well, I can say the nominees, Joe, while you're doing this, if you want me to.
Yeah, you don't want me to do it mid-award.
That's
I
fine.
just want to show the people that care.
All right, so our nominees this year: Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Far
Ooh.
Cry 5, and
Oh.
Battlefield 5. Now, I could touch on this just a smidge here. Far Cry 5 came out a while ago, and I really enjoyed that game. I think there's a lot of fun times to be had in it. It's an interesting game, and it was even better with a buddy, because there are good times to be had in it. And actually, I played all of these. I played a little bit of Battlefield 5, also really good. Call of Duty, also great. For me, it's hard to choose the best shooter, and that's where I kind of defer to Joe, because for me, a lot of it's not only just about the controls, but about the world. But you also have to remember that these games are supposed to be addicting by nature. That's the point. Kind of, it seems like to me of a shooter. It might not be for everybody, but also Doom came out in 2016, so it was a crazy year for shooters. Anyway, yeah, Joe, hit me with it, man. Who are best shooters, man? Do you want to talk about each one of these, or do you just want to get right into who won it for you?
Well, let me give a little bit of a rundown. I mean, each one kind of has its own oomph per se to get it to this point, to be a nominee and best shooter of 2018 for the Critty Awards. First off, we got Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I think we all know why it made the list this year. Other years have been a little bit of a repeat of others. Nothing to really, it's more, yeah, I've seen this before. Okay, another Call of Duty. Oh, it's a little different. Great. All right. Was it worth the $65? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on how big of a fan you are. But this year, it made some drastic changes. I think nothing new to anyone. Obviously, it preceded Fortnite, the Battle Royale there, and PUBG. But we all know how bad PUBG is. And, we're not little kids. We don't play Fortnite. So, so Call of Duty 4's Black Ops. What am I saying here? Call of Duty Black Ops 4's
there you go.
Blackout mode, new addition to the Call of Duty franchise, and I think they've done it better than anybody ever could. PUBG, eat your heart out. We've seen that game. It's kind of basically you're watching a camera that's holding a pixelated block in its hands, and you're trying to aim and shoot people with it. Clunky, waste of time. I just reviewed a game, and I've only ever watched gameplay of it.
Attaboy. Perfect.
Anywho, hey, that's why I didn't make the list. Wasn't worth the mention. Oh, I feel good now. They all have their merits, right? But I just think Blackout did such a good job of doing something that just gets its hooks in you quick. I have played, how many matches have I played? And don't think this is crazy, because I'm sure people have beat me in this category, but I played probably 800 matches.
Yeah.
Solos, duos, quads, whatever. It's been an addictive blast. There's the variability just gets me. And I was always one of those people that was a little skeptical about the whole battle royale. Whoa, big free for all like that? Aren't you gonna be afraid of committing time and then you just fall short halfway through? They're a lot quicker than you think. I think they're more fun, but yeah, I just think that class in its own, or that game mode in its own, really brings Call of Duty back up to the prestige that it's known for. Hence why it's on our list. Multiplayer is good as usual. No campaign this year, but the multiplayer is always a good standout, and they support it. Yeah, you have to pay a little for certain things, but I mean, quality's there. You get what you pay for, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So next on the list, Battlefield 5. I own the game. I haven't had a chance to play a lot of it yet, clearly, as my Blackout match count would suggest. But Battlefield 5, I did play plenty of the beta. Maybe that's not a true tell of how good the game is. But from what I did learn in the beta is that Battlefield 5 is very similar to Battlefield 1. Control-wise, everything, the form and function is all fairly formulaic and straightforward. Things that you did in Battlefield 1 apply in Battlefield 5. So I do like some of the updates. The maps are probably, I would consider, even cooler or more appealing to the player. I like the way you can work with your team and everything, which has always been there, but I think maybe it's improved even a little bit more. The vehicular warfare matched in there with like your conquest game mode and everything, always a big plus. It's almost like a battle royale setting, map size wise and everything, but with less consequence. You can come back and it's more towards a goal of your team wins or loses. But controllability, realism, it's all there. It's a game that's truly up to snuff with the others. And if that's your gig, there she is. So last but not least on our list of nominees for Best Shooter, we also have Far Cry 5. Jimmy, this one, a good game, fun, good open-ish world, right? It's not too overwhelming.
Sure. It's like an open world, yeah.
Yeah. It's big. It's not Ghost Recon big, like, oh, I got to go there.
Thank goodness. Yeah, that's good.
But
a
cool
lot of
setting, cool-ish story. Kind of crazy.
Setting was better than the story, I'd say. Montana, again, being Midwestern boys, is kind of like, oh, they're setting this crazy game in the States. Like,
there you go. So maybe a bit more relatable to us, where we're like, yeah, give me. But I will say the fit and function, the mechanics are slightly off to me. Like the second I pick that game up, it takes some getting used to. But it's not like if you're looking to play a shooter like Call of Duty accurate, this isn't the game for you.
Well, yeah, and it's also it's not supposed to be, right? Because it's not supposed to be like a Twitch-based shooter. It's supposed to be like a single player, like you're fighting like 10 or 15 guys, and you're trying to like sneak onto a base, like shoot them with a bow and arrow, which is really good. You got to admit the bow and arrow controls are pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, I'll admit that a lot of it is really good. It is a different style, like you said. It's not your Twitch-based shooter. Like, what's my kill count? But so it's just different in that aspect. It's more geared towards the progression of the story and experiencing each event or mission milestone. So for that, I mean, I got to commend the game there. I mean, it kind of keeps you interested in moving through the game. The other cool aspect of it is you can do it all with a buddy. The only problem is it's a max of 2 players, right?
I think if they could combine that single player with Far Cry and then make also have a Call of Duty multiplayer and all that, that would be like the craziest huge game ever. They're like, here's a big open world single player campaign, but then also here's like the team deathmatch and the blackout. Like, you're like, oh,
Ghost Recon, pal.
Maybe one day. I know, but I'm talking like first person shooter.
Yeah, well, we don't need to get too sidetracked here. But yeah, maybe Ghost Recon, we need to check that one back out. I'm just saying. So that's our 3 nominees. So I've just been handed the CR official envelope for the Critties.
Nice. You got a different one than I did. I tried to differentiate them, so I'm glad you got it.
I'm lacking the red, but as you see, I have glitter and smiley faces.
Nice. Good.
So, yeah, thank you, CR assistant. Much appreciated. Very nice envelopes this year, I will say.
Thank you.
All right. So this year's Critty Award for Best Shooter goes to... This one's empty. What am I supposed to do with an empty? Oh, the other one? The other one.
That happens sometimes. Even at the best award shows. So, sorry, everybody. We'll fire that person.
Shit happens. No, I said get the hell out of here. You screwed up. That's it. Done. All right, sorry about that.
It happens. It happens.
All right. Don't ask me why this envelope looks like I just paid a bill in it. Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
What a surprise.
Yeah, not really. I only spent 4 minutes talking about it.
That's okay. Give me a minute to talk about it. I will even vote for... when we decided about this one, I enjoyed Far Cry 5 because that's like a little more my style, but I still am an old hand when it comes to Call of Duty. And this is Treyarch we're talking about here. We're talking about the Black Ops franchise, which...
The OGs.
Yeah, and I will say I didn't play 2 or 3, and I know some people have some kind of thoughts about those, how it's kind of trended towards this and no more campaign, which is saddening. But the controls of this game really are unmatched. And I think when I play a game like this and I want to do some like a quick match or whatever, I want it to feel good. I want to say, you know what? I realize why I died. It's not that big of a deal. And I also really do like the specialists. I like having a few little special abilities that I can use along with my care packages and my kill streaks and things like that. So I really think that it deserves this spot, and the fact that it's still a super fun game that we're putting even more time into, even though it doesn't have that single player story. It's not there. And even though I wish it kind of would be, I don't miss it all that much personally. That's just me.
I agree. Well said, Jimmy. I think you touched on a few notes, such as like the characters.
Yeah.
I think that's a big aspect in these games. Black Ops 3, they did it a little bit, which was nice. I think they did a better job in this one and fleshing the characters out a little bit more. They each have their own like learnable.
Yeah. Doing tight.
Who brought the cat to the award show? This is bull crap.
Dang it. I told Jason to leave his at home.
No, but I like that you can learn a little bit about the characters. You can unlock more styles and cosmetics for them and for your guns. They just kind of took it to another level that really draws you in. So, yeah. All right, moving up.
Well, I was going to say the last thing is that it's not too much of a hero shooter like Overwatch. Like it. Bless you. Goodness. That was a bad one. His glasses even flew off.
When I find that cat dead.
I was going to say, I know a lot of people say that, like, Black Ops 3 and this game have kind of become a little more Overwatch-like, but it's not that frequent. Like, their special abilities aren't that powerful and that big of a deal consistently throughout the entire game, whereas in Overwatch you see someone, you're like, I know what abilities they have. When you see the people at the beginning of a match, you all basically are the same with like your loadouts and your guns and stuff. It's just that over time you'll get your little, like, maybe an EMP grenade or maybe a little mine that you could plant. So that big of a deal.
You can replace like their specialty equipment, which may be an EMP grenade
and if you're good enough, you can mitigate somebody's ultimate ability in like 5 seconds. Like if you see a fire break using a flamethrower and you see him from a distance and you shoot him, like that guy loses his ultimate ability. Like it's gone. It's just like
wasted, and he probably won't get it again unless he's like a 40 kill per game.
Yeah, exactly. Also, it's like, you can waste somebody's ult in, Overwatch, but it's not the same. Some of those ultimates you throw out, you set it and forget it. They don't really have ultimates like that exactly in this one. So let's move into one that's a little more my wheelhouse, moving from shooters onto best role-playing game. Now, there are a lot of different types of games you could call role-playing games, so that's why we kind of have like picked these 3, even though there were plenty out there this year to get your hands on. Our best role-playing game contenders are these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it up a little bit. We're going to go through them. I'm going to tell you the winner, and I'm going to tell you why it beat the other ones. Best role-playing game contenders: Monster Hunter World, Dragon Quest XI, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Seems kind of weird, but that's okay because I got a Critty for it. Are you ready, Joe?
Ready, Jimmy. You got the right envelope? Check it first.
Oh. No, this is the right one. This is the right one. This is the
good. Your assistant's better than mine.
Yeah, I know. All right. The best RPG Critty goes to Monster Hunter World. All right. Here's the deal. We put Red Dead Redemption 2 on this list because you do play the role of a cowboy, and the online has that to an extent as well. Even though there are some other games out there this year that we did play that might be considered more of an RPG, that game still stuck with us. Dragon Quest XI is a classic JRPG, and it comes with all the things that I love about a classic JRPG and all the faults as well. It could have been a lot better. Monster Hunter World puts you in the role of this hunter, and you get to build them, make them however you want. You get to get whatever weapon you want. You get to kind of customize yourself with what gear you want to bring with you, all that jazz. And it is incredibly addicting and super fun. And I put hundreds of hours into this game, and I still love playing it. And I still, to this day, when I play it, say, while I'm playing it, this is a good game. It feels so good, and I'll
vouch for that because I'm normally playing with them.
Yeah, well, I love it, man. And it makes me feel like a hunter. It also makes me feel like an underappreciated hunter because I'm like the one person doing the work for everybody. Because, like when you're out there, they're like, hey, you need to go stop like Nergigante. I'm like, I'm the only one who needs to stop Nergigante? We should bring everybody out there to fight Nergigante.
Wait, I can't tell if that was a dig or not. I mean, normally I'm hunting with you and you're
I meant
on your back. Is that what you're saying?
I meant story-wise, Joe. They're like, hey, can you go take Xeno Jiva out? And you're like, why are you sending like only 4 people to do this? It's like, send everybody to do it. But like being a hunter and also rising through the ranks there, like starting off with your little, apartment and then getting like a nicer one and then like this lavish one, which I reduced back to the nice one because I was like, the lavish one was too much for my guy. I was like, this is too rich for my taste. I have like a little fishing pond and everything. But the game, it just feels so good to, to go out to explore and forge your own path in this world in a way. And I really feel like a hunter. Like you do have to track and hunt these things down, which sometimes is annoying to some people, but it makes sense to me that you have to like figure out how to track these things. Otherwise you wouldn't.
Know
so that's
where to
why
look for them. Where's their lair? Like Oda Garen has a specific spot.
We know where everybody lives now and where everybody sleeps. We're like, we know where you are.
I've killed your entire family. You're the last one, I presume.
But Joe, I don't know. You played 2 of the games that we mentioned here today. But would you say that Monster Hunter, still for you, it seems like it's the best RPG?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I felt like the others just deserve that nod. I Red Dead Redemption 2 is just it's an excellent game in a lot of aspects. It's just it kind of blurs the line into a lot of different categories. Whereas, and for that. Furthermore, I mean, so does Monster Hunter. But I mean, Monster Hunter just took things to a charismatic level that just like, man, you feel it, man. You feel it. And it's addicting. Like, I can't tell you how many times Jimmy and I are like, well, what do you want to hunt? You hunt a Toby Kadachi? Oh, okay. All right, it's posted. All right, I'll join. Just give me 1 second. 25, 30 minutes later, I'm finally done going, customizing my loadout and making my guy look awesome. It's an addicting, horrible problem, but it's so great. Like, if a game can get me to sit there and mess around with that kind of stuff for that long prior to even going on the hunt, which is the main point of the damn game, touche. Good on you. Yep. But yeah, so well-deserved. And I hate to do this mid-award, but I mean, should we give any other honorable mentions in this category? I mean, what about the Pokemon Eevee and Pokemon Pikachu?
Oh, let's go Pikachu and Eevee. I thought about putting that on here. My only issue with it is pretty much just red and blue version. Just it looks nicer.
A little tuned up, maybe a little more interactive and fun with the whole Pokeball control.
Yeah, I guess so. Like I feel like a little of the strategy went away though, because a lot of it does seem like one hitter quitters with like a lot of these attacks, because you just have to find the right attack to use against someone and you just kill them just every time. It's just or they'll one shot you a bunch and you're like, oh gosh, why is this Doug Trio so fast? But yeah, it was really cool. I loved it because it was like a really fun step for me from like that childhood Jimmy to be like, oh man, I wish I could play this game on my TV, and now I can. Like that's really cool. And the fact that I played it on that one Switch controller, like the Joy-Con, and it was still fine. Yeah, I'd say, it could be up there. I just don't think it really transcends, its predecessor. That's the problem. That makes sense.
Understood.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but a lot of people put Assassin's Creed Odyssey on this list too. I like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but it is a bit grindy. It's a little too grindy for me. And Dragon Quest XI got that way a little bit too, and not that RPGs can't be grindy. They can be. But like when you grind, I'd rather grind by hunting 10 of the same monster than just fight random enemies forever. Because that's what Joe and I had to do. If like Joe wanted a specific skin or armor set or whatever, he had to hunt Val Hazak like 20 times. And
let's just say Val Hazak won't be back for the expansion next year.
He's not coming to Iceborne.
He's extinct. Done. Fini. Over.
I love it. Finite, baby. But anyway, let's move on here, Joe. We're moving on for best RPG. We're moving on to which category?
Which category? Always putting me on the spot, Jimmy.
I like to do it. Keeps him on his toes.
All right. Well, the envelope I got here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Damn it, Denise. Best demo, alpha or beta? Is that right? Okay.
That's correct. Very good.
Oh, thank God. All right, you can keep your job.
Whew.
All right.
Thanks. She's my niece. Get it, Denise?
Oh, that was good. Yeah, he made fun of your name.
I'm feeling bad for this fictional character right now. He's dying. I've killed him.
Oh no, I tipped over the Critty.
You can't tip over the Critty. We only got one of those.
It's okay. It's okay. They're extremely durable and made of solid gold. So
Gal Gadot held that for a
okay.
year, Joe. She held it for a year.
Yeah. We probably shouldn't tell them that she never came and picked it up.
She did come pick it up in our minds.
All right. Yeah, that might have been a little odd.
Yeah.
All right. Best demo, alpha, or beta. And the nominees for this category are Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Can we get a round of applause, please? Golf clap for each category. Nominee number 2, Battlefield 5. Nominee number 3, Devil May Cry 5. And our winner. Devil May Cry 5, Jimmy.
Woo! All right. So we've had this category in the past, and I'm taking this from Joe here because Joe, obviously, he's not as big of a Devil May Cry guy as I am. But here's my thing with a demo, an alpha, or beta. If you play one of these things, it should make you want to buy the game and play it like immediately. I played Battlefield 5. We did some, we know of Call of Duty, and if Joe would have tried more of that Call of Duty demo, I think he would have it would have been, I mean, he was already there, so it didn't even matter. Yeah. But like, it should get a nod because it was trying something new, and they're doing the Blackout stuff. So I think they did do Blackout for their beta, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they improved it when it actually came out. I think there were a few things with it during the beta, but
which is good. But Devil May Cry, man, like I haven't played a Devil May Cry game that is like this one, that has returned to form for the franchise like this, and makes me want to play it so badly. And I played this demo a few times now. It's not like I played it once. I've played it a few times, and every time I play it, I'm learning new things. And it's so good. It's so much fun. And I just can't wait to get my hands on the actual game. And that is like the whole purpose of a demo. Because I feel like we're not doing demos as much as we used to. Or they're not as like, lauded or wanted as much. But seriously, this demo is so much fun. I recommend anybody who has a PS4 and Xbox One, just download it and try it out. Give it a shot. You're going to have a hell of a good time because it is just fun incarnate, and you're just messing up demons with a sword and a cool, like, your robot arms. And man, it's so good. And it's just a slice of the game, just a little bitty slice. Oh man, and the boss battle at the end of it is so cool because it transitions from the top of a building, you crash down into a building, you get knocked out of that building, you can knock this huge tower down, and like every fight is different. So I'm just excited for it, and that's why I think it's well deserving of this award. Joe, you got anything to add?
Well said. No, I think we covered that quite well.
Thank you.
Well. Not a lot on the radar for
no, there wasn't a
betas.
Yeah,
we Call of Duty. I mean, we covered the mains, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, yeah, it's not, they weren't like really blowing us away. It's like when Overwatch had its demo or its alpha and beta, we're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what Devil May Cry does a little bit for me. And when they add that co-op, it's gonna be good. This is an interesting category because some years we have more, and I just didn't have a lot of time to play all of these. So again, these are all I only played one, and I'm sorry, it's gonna take this one. But this next category is best strategy. Ton of good ones out there. Only had time to really play the one though, and I don't like to do ones that are like remakes or they put them, or remasters, or put them on a new console or whatever. I want to put one out that came up this year, and that
everybody hit pause and guess what it was. What does Jimmy like most in this world? I'll give you a hint. It's one of his favorite films. It's related to this.
Yeah. Can you guess? Write it in the comments.
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding.
And it's not even the greatest game, but I still really enjoyed it. But well, this is the best strategy Critty goes to. Jurassic World Evolution. Okay, so stay with me, everybody. Jurassic World Evolution finally kind of gives me, and I know there are older Jurassic Park games that let you build a park, but this game really like brought it up another level. The detail and the dinosaurs is really cool. Figuring out what they like and how many of them there need to be in any herd or pack or whatever. And a lot of the problems that arise are pretty cool because like you have a perfect park, but then something goes wrong or the electricity runs out or something like that happens because they have to have a little bit of drama in there.
Sounds horrible. Like people could die.
They could. And that's one of the best things is that you're like, oops, the fence is broken. And there's like watching the Velociraptor running around taking people out. And it's really like, if you like dinosaurs, this is one of the coolest games for dinosaurs because each one of them is super well detailed and you care about them and you can alter their genetics to make them different colors and give them different abilities. Because like you can try to make dinosaurs that are good at fighting each other if that's what you're into. I wasn't into that. I just wanted to make my dinosaurs live for a super long time and be really healthy because I worried about it. But then also driving like the jeeps and tranking the dinosaurs or healing the dinosaurs like that on the ground and running these parks was a fun strategy and tactical type of game. And I wanted to give it its credit because I did enjoy it for the time I got into it, and I'll probably go back to it someday to kind of finish it up because I played a good amount, but there's a lot to that game. There's a lot. A lot.
In so light of playing the game, Jimmy feels like he's garnered enough experience. He's going to start a Kickstarter to start his own Jurassic World.
Yes, exactly. For the low price of the first tier, which is $10,000, we're gonna start. We're gonna try to get a lot of people in on the ground floor at that. That's the first tier, and we're gonna build our own. It's gonna be great. Don't worry about it. I got this island off the coast of Costa Rica, and everybody's gonna love it. Yeah, that's a little JP joke there for you.
He'll spare no expense.
Except I will pay my engineers and technicians what they deserve because apparently the two people running the park, one of them wasn't compensated well enough, I guess, because it's like, you should have paid that.
The other one smoked too many cancer sticks to know the difference.
Exactly. Anyway, moving on to the next category, Joe. What is our next category here?
Next category here. This is a good one, Jimmy. Very good one. Most improved, and we are in the video game category. All right. Just in case nobody knew. I mean,
it's probably
most improved, trilogy of films. I don't know.
Movie like the director's cut. They're like,
I think Marvel Infinity War was a way better improvement over the previous Marvel films. Black Panther should have been more like Infinity War. All right.
Needs more Thanos in Black Panther.
Yeah, more Thanos in Black Panther. Why did they have Thanos in there? All right.
And
just clarifying, maybe a stupid clarification. Who cares? Most improved video game of 2018. And the nominees are Overwatch. Jimmy, Overwatch made the list.
Yes, wow.
It did. Yeah, you know where my vote's going. All right. Other nominees include Monster Hunter World, For Honor. And that's it.
I was like, it sounded like you had a fourth. I was like, I did not write one down.
Did. Maybe I thought of one, huh? No, but so Monster Hunter World, For Honor, and Overwatch. Now, just to touch on these real quickly. Overwatch, I think we all know why it's on the list. Came out in the year 2016? Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It'll be 3 years old in May.
I know, that's freaky.
Oh my God, am I old?
No, Overwatch is old. But they consistently add new maps.
That means that I aged the same as Overwatch.
New maps, new skins, new characters, new or retooling, like Junkrat can throw
new game modes.
2C4, yeah, exactly. Like they're constantly
updates to the abilities,
constantly
cosmetics,
updating. Yep.
Sounds, music, all that stuff. Boom, boom, bam, great. Competitive gaming, pro gaming, Overwatch style. You can watch it on freaking ESPN. I watched it. I saw it. I just commentated and said how I would do that differently, and I would have won.
Perfect.
So, obviously had to make the list. We ran down the reasons. For Honor, I feel like this one really deserved its spot here as a nominee. I don't know if any of our listeners or viewers still dabble in the For Honor medieval battle, but it's a game that I've put a lot of time in, along with our buddy Drew, a friend of the Legion, and we've spent many hours battling foes in their hand-to-hand combat and whatnot with our axes and different types of medieval weaponry.
Both of these games still you played this year, though. That's the thing.
I still played them this year, and For Honor came out, 2016 as well, right?
Is it that?
Yeah, it was near Overwatch.
Okay,
right?
I believe you. Is that
Ghost Recon? Was it 2017? I don't know.
Might have been 2017. That might have been the year, UB's year, kind of.
Yeah, UB's year. Either way, here we are at the turn into 2019, and I'm still playing it now and again. They've come out with some new environments and stuff, maps to utilize in different game modes. They've come out with a whole new selection of what do you want to call them? Soldiers. Really cool too. And the fact that their cosmetics, they have to what's the word? They have to work in cosmetics for each faction that they bring out.
Yeah.
And you get caught in there. You're just like, oh man, I can make him look like this. Oh, look at that ornament for his helm, all that stuff is just so great. And it's immense detail too. Looks awesome. The hand-to-hand, no guns in here. So it's all hand-to-hand stuff. It all looks great. The reactions are great. Everything feels like it has weight to it. And it works. Multiplayer-wise, you're in there. You're duking it out with other online players. It's been good. It's ultra competitive, but overall well-balanced and just a good time. So definitely deserve to mention. I think they're keeping up with it. Ubisoft is supporting it. The updates keep rolling out, and good stuff. They're not seasonal events, but like, what do you want to call them? Not quarterly events, maybe. Every once in a while, they'll roll out with something new where it's like a 4-on-4 in an arena, kind of more gladiatorial style. And it's real cool. So a lot of fun to be had in that one, and the support's there. It keeps improving, so on the list. All right, Monster Hunter World. Jimmy, why don't you explain this one a little bit?
Sure. Quick clarification. It did come out in 2017. It was February 14th, so nice day for lovers. Valentine's Day, like each grab it. So Monster Hunter World, the updates, you look at their seasonal events, things that they're doing all the time. I think the biggest ones are obviously adding new weapons, armor, and new monsters to the game for free. That is insane. Adding a new area to fight that cool Taroth thing, doing special events in the arena for like Devil May Cry, things like that. Like the game consistently is adding new things all the time.
Seasonal events, what do they do there, Jimmy? What you got?
Like seasonal events, so like we're talking about, like you're going upstairs, like, and you're going up to the gathering hub, and they've done it all up, and everybody's dressed up, and there's different things for Halloween or for Christmas, but then they also have like specialized armor and sets and things that you can only get for like a
Pumpkin Man.
Yeah, exactly. Get like helmets and things, and yeah, there's so much going on in Monster Hunter all the time. It feels like they're always adding new things. They're adding a new Assassin's Creed mantle, so you can put a hood on now, and you can be completely like invisible to monsters. So you throw that on and you run right past them. I don't know how viable those things are going to be, but I'm sure they're good for specific things. I just thought, man, they're doing these crossovers all the time, and some of them, I don't know if I don't remember if the Horizon stuff was paid for. Like you had to buy that. You might have had to, but that was a PlayStation only thing. Geralt of Rivia has come into the game, but they're constantly adding things like to it, which is really cool. And I think that's a reason why it deserves to be mentioned on this list.
Yeah, absolutely. Well covered. Much shorter than my synopsis is.
Well, I try to. I mean, we're already at like 48 minutes, and I feel bad. The people out there, they want to know these awards. They want to.
All right. Well, I feel worthwhile to spend a little time on this.
No, it's good
category. All right.
It's a category.
To the winner, shall we? To the winner. All right. And the Critty Award for Most Improved Game goes to, believe it or not, Jimmy, by gosh, it's Monster Hunter World.
Oh my gosh, it's like we made these beforehand. So, okay, with For Honor and Overwatch, I think they're still improving all the time, and I think it's a testament to those games that, Joe, that you have played them. I think I even played some Overwatch this year too, like still, and I still really enjoy it. I just don't feel like, they've improved. It's hard because, like, I don't know if they've changed a lot of the numbers on like how much a longsword does in, Monster Hunter, but the fact that they're adding stuff to that game and making me consistently come back to it throughout the year when there's so many of these other crazy games to take up my time and attention, like, I feel like that is something worth mentioning. Like a person who spent hundreds of hours and I'm still like coming back for more. Like, yeah, what's going on? Behemoth's here? Cool, let's fight Behemoth. That's going to be hard.
One thing I should have touched on a little bit more is the cooperativeness, the co-op.
Oh, for sure.
Playing with your friends, your pals. Excuse me. I feel like it's just done in excellent fashion in Monster Hunter World. You get a group of 3, 4, even 2.
Yeah.
And you're going after a monster. You just feel like, all right, gents, let's do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Roll the cuffs up a bit and get after it. It's just good. Hey, anybody got a flash pod? Anybody got a flash pod? Yeah, get them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, just coordinating.
Hey, who can put in a health station down? All that sort of stuff. Great. I love it. So, yeah, well deserved.
And adding new mantles and stuff like that, it's like the evasion mantle or the one you get with Behemoth, and having that for other monsters that you've fought in the past, where you're like, man, this would have come in handy, and it's just like that improvement feels so good and so warranted when you're fighting like a Devil Joe, and you're like, oh man, this would have been so nice against him, and now you have it, and you're like, sweet, you like throw it on, and you're just auto evading all the time.
Yeah,
so cool. All right, Joe, let's move on to one that I didn't, and I never want to make like a worst game category. I'd rather have a most disappointing one, and this one always stings, Joe. This is the most disappointing game, and our nominees are Darksiders 3, Sea of Thieves, and Just Cause 4.
Ooh.
Before we get into this, again, I don't want to say these are the worst games. I'm saying they're games that I held in high hope,
high regard.
Well, not even regard to that point. I care, and a lot of the two of these games here are from series that I really enjoy. But yeah, I'll explain after we open it up. And the Critty goes to Darksiders 3. All right. I might look bitter. I might sound bitter, but I'm just sad. I've said it before, crestfallen. Darksiders 3 had the potential to be so much better than it was. And I've heard a lot of things about, well, the budget, it didn't have as much of a budget, or they didn't have the art style from the last games because they lost those artists or whatever, like Joe Mad and all that. But Darksiders 3 is plagued with technical difficulties, and whatever semblance of like its own soul that it used to have, being the Zelda meets Devil May Cry game, was thrown away in favor for just straight up Dark Souls. And if you're gonna play a Dark Souls ripoff, just play Dark Souls, or maybe play Bloodborne or something else. Don't play this. Just Cause 4, it is a bit disappointing. It feels like an expansion as opposed to a full-on sequel. They have the storms and stuff. They have some new grapple mechanics, but they threw away the grenades and the C4 that you had, which is like, I want to blow stuff up in this game. So it's disappointing, but not to the same effect. And then Sea of Thieves, I remember playing the beta, Joe, for this and talking to you about it, and I remember people were so excited, but I remember thinking this is not going to be good. And then when I finally got to it, I was like, yep, pretty much what I expected. Yeah. So while disappointing as for the group, it was still like, okay, so we did a Games Pass for like a month, and we're like, well, see ya, like, bye.
Deuces.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got in there multiplayer, and you're like expecting to see run into all these other pirates on the sea, and we saw like one other ship, maybe two.
The only funny moment I ever had was when I heard another player scream from his little boat that he was like, I'm sorry, because he actually smashed into us with this boat. He was all by himself, and I believed him, and that was really fun. But besides that, there was no one else to see. So
that's really
yeah,
funny.
But Darksiders 3, I had so much hope, and I love that franchise so much, and I thought maybe this was going to be more of an upward trajectory for this franchise, but it just isn't. It wasn't, and I would definitely not spend full price on any of these games. See if these you wouldn't in the first place, but just wait on all of these to drop.
I hate to say it, but you talk about right away the budget, lacking budget.
Yeah.
That's I hate to say it, but good stuff takes money. Get what you pay for, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
From the development side.
You can't do what they did and make a mediocre game that has technical flaws like this and try to survive in this world, because you either need to make a completely horrible game like Fallout 76 will do and it'd be like completely buggy, but still tons of people bought into it and it'll be remembered for that, or you need to make a completely fantastic game, because in this market you can't have mediocre. You can't do it. You will die. You're gone. Like it's over. So yeah, there you go. Most disappointing game. I could go on and on about it, but I already have gone on and on about it. So if you've missed any of our reviews for these, you should go check those out, because there
you go. Yeah. A little more background on it. All right. This, Jimmy, a great one. And the nominees go even further than what we've got here. I think we need to mention a couple others.
Oh, well, if you want to mention them, I just wrote down the 3 because I thought we were doing 3, but we're not doing that.
Well,
it's funny because you're a guy who's only played like I don't know how many more of these types of games have you played this year is my real question.
Well, okay. Category for best multiplayer. The nominees are Battlefield 5, Super Smash Bros., Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Those are our main nominees.
Oh,
Are there any others that we would like to mention?
Sea of no. That came out this year. I don't know.
I do have to admit, the multiplayer in Red Dead Redemption 2, worth mentioning. Getting in that world, interacting in that world, playing Red Dead Redemption 2 with your buddies, great.
Two old men riding a horse together.
Dude,
it's totally
I'm
fine.
Sam Elliott.
I am Lester Dust Devil Sullivan.
Oh, that's great. We're literally like, my guy is the likeness of Sam Elliott, and Jimmy's somewhat similar, just, crazy name.
No, I made my guy specifically as old and as scraggly as possible, and he has got a big scar that he doesn't like to talk about. All right,
as old as you could let the game go. Like, maxed it out. All right, but the multiplayer in there is pretty good. I think we need to personally get back in there and dabble some more, find some more things to do, and really get into the core of it, see how much better it is. But I think worth a mention here, it's just some have been more standout than that.
But to clarify too, multiplayer usually for us here means more like head-to-head, which they have like a battle royale and stuff here versus like a co-op, which we have another category for.
True. Yeah, there are. Yeah, that's a good clarification. Red Dead Redemption does have your more not even team battles, but like your all-out royale little modes or little mini games within the multiplayer server that you're in or what have you. So it kind of, again, a game that blurs the lines a little bit. Are there any others, Jimmy? Multiplayer wise, I know, we don't want to mix co-op and multiplayer.
Not that I can think of, not really, because you like look at this game, and like Monster Hunter wouldn't be nominated because it's not like you're fighting each other. Like they don't have a multiplayer mode that I know of in the game. That would be incredible.
I mean, I've hit you a few times, but it's
you do have
there for a hit. So okay, all right. Well, co-op we'll talk about later, but Red Dead Redemption may be worth a little bit of a mention. But all right, getting down to it. And the winner for best multiplayer game of the year goes to... This is a surprise on a Critical Reviews channel. Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
What? Crazy.
On a channel that Jimmy fronts, we're talking about Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Love it.
Here's the reason why. I look at these games and I've played all of them, and I admittedly haven't played a lot of the multiplayer for Smash Brothers, so that's why I wanted to give it a nod, but I didn't want to fully nominate it or give it the award because I've heard the online's got some issues, and I love Smash Brothers, I really do, and I think it deserves to be talked about and lauded because it's such a cool game. This is Smash Brothers Ultimate for people who are like, But Call of Duty's multiplayer, specifically the multiplayer, not the Blackout, not the zombies, but multiplayer itself, still
like
feels,
team deathmatch.
Yeah, still feels as good, if not better, than the olden days, and it's like the best place to play against other players because regardless of your skill level, you can get kills. And that's a lot of it is due to the fact that like all of these characters have special abilities. Like Nomad that I like, you can set up a mesh mine. You don't have to be good at this game to get a kill with that. You can just put it up somewhere around a door or a hallway, and you'll just get a kill. Like you're just like, oh, cool, somebody walked into it, blew up. It's great. It's a great way to kind of like mess with the people who just run around and play Call of Duty as you would expect them to, like run around with SMG, running, jumping, shooting like that, and they get hit with a mesh mine, and you take away their kill streak before they get it. You're like, ha, sucker. But it just feels so good, and I find myself playing it even without Joe. I'll just hop in and play a few matches. I'm like, pretty good. Still liking it. Play
Jimmy
a little bit.
And I go way back.
Jimmy and I played hours upon hours of the first Call of Duty Black Ops 1, the Vietnam era based one.
Yeah, great game. So good.
Firing range, jungle. Jungle is probably our real good jiving map. I mean, we've had some matches.
I like Summit.
Yeah. Summit was a good one too.
Ooh,
some of my best matches there. Either way, the maps there, the nostalgia with that game. Oh, I wish they'd bring it back. They should bring it back. Wait, they have. But either way,
exactly.
This is as close to that as you're ever going to get with a little twist and modern day edge on it. It is great. And if you're that battle royale type, it's got a realistic, gritty battle royale mode that I think is unrivaled. It's difficult and challenging. So when you do well and place like top 5, it makes you feel good. You may not win it, but it's worthwhile. It's fun. It's like, oh, I came out of there with 4 kills because I outwitted these people. There's a sense of accomplishment there, whether it's a win or not. But either way, good game. I'm glad it gets the award this year for best multiplayer. Well deserved. And it brought Jimmy and I back together via first-person shooter. It's great.
Not that Far Cry 5 didn't do that already.
Yeah, we've been playing Summit, Jungle, Firing Range, all the classics.
All the classics.
It's like the good old days.
Good times. I love it. All
right, next one.
I was kind of hinting to it, but I think these ones should always be right next to each other, where Joe kind of, thrives on killing other people. I love working with other people. But this is for best co-op. And our nominees are Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Ooh.
Monster Hunter World.
Oh.
And Battlefield 5.
Eee.
Which I feel bad because we keep talking about Battlefield 5, but neither of us has played a lot of it. Anyway, the Critty goes to...
Oh, geez.
Monster Hunter World. Okay, so it's not really a surprise. Call of Duty deserves a nod because you kind of can co-op a little bit in Team Deathmatch in some of those modes. Not as much as like Battle Royale, which is very dependent on co-op if you play duos or quads or whatnot. So I think that deserves recognition because... Joe and I are working together, and we both there have been times I haven't played it as much, but we each kind of survive a traumatic experience, and we both come back together. It's like, all right, you did a good job, or I saw this guy and you died, but I got him, and that's great. But there are moments even in Team Deathmatch where we've had I took out the guy who was about to take Joe out, and it's a little cooperative. And Battlefield 5, obviously, there's some of that too, but
probably a lot of that, maybe even more so. But
sure. Yeah, because you're heal. It's I'm the medic, you're the sniper. You've got to target the people, and I'm gonna give you health. Which I like playing the medic in that game. It's fun.
Yeah.
But Monster Hunter World, if Monster Hunter World is a great game by yourself, it is just exceptional with friends. And this is with people and randos alike, because even if the randoms screw up once in a while, if you're really lucky, but it's not even about luck a lot of the time, you're working with professionals. You get people who come in there who are like, yep, I only hunt this thing. Or you can tell, you look at their gear and all the things they're packing and all the things they're eating before a fight, and you're like, well, this person is ready to go.
Knows what they're doing. They ain't messing around.
I've been carried, especially in the early days. There was a few times where I was I couldn't get through something, and I had a group carried me through a monster after I'd fought it by myself once, because the scaling can be super intense if you're going from single to multiplayer, because it's you're either fighting a monster that's single player health and damage or multiplayer health and damage. But man, there's been so many moments that have been so much fun to play with, with you, Joe, and Drew, and our buddy Leo and Levi. And man, I love playing that game with people. And even if it takes you guys for 5 hours to get ready to go for a hunt that's only going to take us 20 minutes, it's still a joy to have you guys out there and to be kind of supporting each other with flash pods or setting out traps.
We're looking good while doing it, because we spend a half an hour doing up our duds.
Oh yeah, or usually Drew is just standing somewhere doing something, and he'd be like, "Oh, what?
Oh, I forgot to join."
Yeah, yeah. I still just adore that game for the co-op aspects specifically. I think it's just really great. Yeah, hunting monsters with your buddies. You're hunting T-Rexes and dragons and stuff.
Yeah, man, that's every kid's dream.
Yeah, man,
child is giggling like crazy.
And again, this game popped up, and we weren't really. This was not a game we were like, meh. But then we played Oh man, I guess. Well, technically, was the alpha or beta out for this game in last December though, or November? I don't remember when this alpha for Monster Hunter was on there. Either way,
was there one? Did we play it?
We definitely played it because I got you hooked that way. Maybe it should have been nominated for that one. Who cares? Anyway, Devil May Cry is still a great demo.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter World though, great co-op. That's all I gotta say. Joe.
Agreed.
Okay, that's it. We're moving on to the next one. Then.
Where are we in the show? My time cards don't go any further than this.
I feel bad for all of these celebrities we have sitting in the theater right now who we've specifically been talking about video games for the past like hour. They're like,
we haven't even gotten to the movies. The movie stars are just really pissed. They're like, why are we here?
they're gonna
Because of the
fine.
snacks and drinks afterwards, guys. It's gonna be great.
Snacks and drinks. Jason Momoa's gonna down a bottle of Jack Daniels and crash it on the floor. It's
No, Jason Momoa and I are gonna have a 6-pack of Guinness each. It's gonna be great,
okay.
bro moments.
Okay, well,
Step on my toes again, and I'm out of here.
take like a lock of his hair with you. Why don't you? You know what I'm saying?
Don't mind if I mean, hi, Mr. Momoa. The Guinness is chilling, sir.
Joe, what's the next category we have here?
This one, this is a good one, Jimmy. Another good one. All our categories this year stacked up with some good stuff.
Yeah.
Best soundtrack. Nominees are, best video game soundtrack.
Good call.
The nominees are
Who wrote this thing?
God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2. I had to do it. And Monster Hunter World. Those are our 3. And the Critty goes to
They saw that you pulled out it was a transparent piece of paper there, Joe. I'm not taking that out. This is a live
You're taking
show.
it out.
It's a live
Rewind
show.
it. Take it out. Write this time down. You're taking it out.
Type. All right, it's good. Got that
All
time.
right. All right, I got it. Hold on. All right.
Also, you did it again. I just
I gotta raise the kip.
there.
Best video game soundtrack award, Critty of 2018 goes to Monster Hunter World. Do you guys have a wheelbarrow for all your trophies? You're gonna need it. Good stuff. The load in, the home screen where it says press start.
Oh God, it's so good.
It's all good. It's all good. Go
The
up
victory
to
music.
Yeah, when you're back at I'm trying to remember the name of the base camp, the ship.
Astera.
Astera. Good music, good stuff. Your interactions with different folks, good. Going into a monster fight, it changes.
Music is different for specific monsters. Like when you hear freaking basil juice show up, it's like bum bum ba 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 ba, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh God.
And it's perfect. It's like the orchestra is sitting up on the cliffs around you.
Yeah, it's so good.
Perfect. Going up to the gathering hub, all of it. It's great. It's great. Can anything more be said?
I don't think so. I want to nod to the other 2 games we talked about here. God of War has got some really, really great music too. But like Red Dead Redemption 2, I think the music was good, but it wasn't ever present. And maybe that was in God of War. It's been a while. But Red Dead Redemption 2 has a lot of time without music. And when the music kicks in, when you're just kind of riding around, it's like, this is great. But a lot of the time, I don't feel like these games really like push the music like Monster Hunter World did. Music is like constantly playing. Like it's always changing too. Like when you go into your room, it's different. Like when you're walking around the base, it's different. When you're out on expedition, it's different. It's always changing. And I think, and the fact that it actually like plays into what you're fighting is a cool like way to contextualize like you're thinking and feeling something different when you're fighting a Rathalos than when you're fighting just like a Kulu Yaku. So yeah. Good stuff, Joe. All right.
Good stuff.
This next one's going to be quick, but this one is for best fighting game. And the Critty goes to. Oh, look at that. It's Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, baby. All right. So there are a few other good fighting games that came out this year, but honestly, I didn't really play them. And Super Smash Brothers, while technically maybe not as like coherent as some of these other ones, perhaps, it just feels good, man. This game, It does have some technicality to it with the shielding and the dodging and all of that stuff, item management, and just learning how to control your characters, because you can't just pick up and play every character. Some of them are a little bit more complex, but each stage, all the items that can show up and will show up, all of this stuff makes for a beautiful blend. And you throw other people in there or computers in there, and it's chaos. And a lot of fighting games are like, all right, go one-on-one, and it's really super serious. But Smash Brothers just revels in the absurdity, and I love that. I love that about this game. And it is a fighting game. You're punching each other. It's Mario punching Pikachu in the face. Like, isn't that nuts? Like, that we have this game franchise at all, but like that it's still consistently like one of the best-selling games on Nintendo. Like, and it's for a reason, because these games are high quality, and there's so much stuff to do in this game. It's insanity. It has more than any other fighting game. There's just this crazy single player mode in World of Light. There are all these different little modes, even though they got rid of, Home Run Derby and Smash the Targets, but there's still like, defeat like 100 enemies or like 1,000 or whatever it is. Like, you're fighting all these little guys. And then there's also like the little single player things that you could do where you're just going through and fight like 6 things and then a boss. And then you have like this little like adventure mode. It's great. It's great. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is great, and it's worth getting a Switch for. I really believe that, and that's a big deal, especially for a fighting game, especially when the last one that we loved was Injustice 2. So, yeah, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It deserves it. There you go. That's all I have to say about that.
Right on. Excuse me. All right, Jimmy. Next one is a good one. We're not in the movie category yet.
We're close.
We're close. Movie stars, be patient. Jason, that Guinness is still cold, don't worry. Best open world video game of 2018. The nominees are Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Spider-Man, PlayStation exclusive, Red Dead Redemption 2,
Yeah. Yep.
and Jimmy. This year's best open world video game Critty goes to.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, look, it's another envelope inside of an envelope.
My God.
And this one goes to none other than Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes. I mean, whatever. Yeah, man. I like how you said Sony exclusive, which basically meant right there that when someone who doesn't have a PlayStation, if anyone who watches, Joe doesn't have a PlayStation, so it's not like he's gonna be like.
The first mistake was making it an exclusive.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll touch on these quick.
Give us the rundown.
Yeah, best open world. I was talking about this for a while with Joe, and Spider-Man was the one originally that I thought was gonna take it from me. And while you could say God of War is kind of open world, in an open world for me, I think a lot of it is about exploration and not being confined to specific areas, which all these games that we mentioned here today let you do. They let you go anywhere. God of War is a little more kind of on the straight and narrow for a lot of those portions.
There's a path to take, right?
Yeah, you can explore, and there's like you get a boat at one point, but you kind of go to different little islands or little coasts and things. But Spider-Man has got such great detail, and it's so much fun to be in that world, but there isn't a lot of interactivity with people or anything else once you do kind of the main missions that are specifically on points on the map. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, there's so much detail and craziness in that game, and it is good, but the open world doesn't feel as alive as Red Dead Redemption 2's. And we're not talking about the online, we're talking about like the actual game where you're on your horse and you never know what's around the next bend because you're going around and you're galloping or you're trotting around and somebody will come out of the forest and want something. They could be a good person, bad person. You can be a good person, bad person.
1 minute, you're sucking the venom out of some guy's leg. The next, you're flopping a dead horse off of some lady and giving her a ride back to town. You never know. It's just random stuff like that, and you sometimes get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
I just had to throw in the whole venom sucking thing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's cool because like you never know what you're gonna happen upon. You might find like a crashed carriage that might have like some loot on there or whatever, and some guy will be like, "Hey, can you protect this for me? I'm gonna go and I'll be back and just watch this." And it's just like, okay, how long am I gonna
Or if
wait?
you're just in it for the horse farming mentality.
Yeah.
The horses are awesome here, and there's so many different breeds, especially in the online. Like, like getting a collection, a stable full of awesome horses is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. So it's so hard to say that any game is going to top the open world detail and the feeling of how truly lived in Red Dead Redemption 2's world feels, because every place you go to feels like these people are real and they have routines and they have lives and you're kind of part of that, and they remember you, like the store clerks remembering you or saying like, oh, you've lost some weight or whatever else. Like that is insane to me. Or
hey mister, we don't want any more trouble in here, and you've just been in there in a bar fight earlier,
or like I went into the gunsmith, left, and came like back in within maybe 20 seconds. He's like, oh, back already? He's like, oh, it is safer in here than it is out there, isn't it, mister? Like he's like small talk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So good, man.
It's almost like there's another person on the other end. It makes
and I think that while Rockstar pushes the limits of this, we're going to start to get to see a point where even though I pushed back and did some things in the game that were like, okay, you took this quest line like a little too far, like you can't, take somebody out of a quest and bring them to the sheriff and lock them up. I think eventually we will get to that point where you can do pretty much anything and make your own little stories within this world, because that's already what they're doing. So yeah, and this is not even to mention that the main storylines in the game are still super fun to be a part of and go through. And oh man, there's so many really cool moments. Yeah,
and I feel like it's worth touching on. I said it earlier when we brought up Red Dead Redemption 2, but literally you'll be mid-mission. I mean, this game gets its hooks into you right off the get-go. That first storyline where you're up in the mountains running from Blackwater, and you're up there in the mountains in this snowstorm. And the interaction just with the environment alone blows your mind. It is so cool. And they have all the different climates here, You go from the snowy mountains with snow up to your waist to the swamps of Louisiana style, to the Great Plains, to the mountains, to the desert, to the Pacific Northwest type forests or the Rocky Mountain forests. And then the wildlife that interacts with that environment, that interacts with you. It's just cohesive. It all works. And you're like, man, like you're lost in that moment. As long as that Xbox or PlayStation is still on, you're having a blast. Open world, Jimmy.
Yeah.
They did it right. The travel can be a bit of a pain. Like,
that's
I really want to pay for the fast travel, because riding your horse for an hour just to get somewhere to do a mission or an activity is a little annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's just a statement to how vast the open world is, and the detail of it. It's so stinking detailed. Sorry, just trying to keep the Critty for movie of the year up front and center.
We got to make sure that that's up front and center. That's good.
Gal Gadot held this for one whole year, right?
She did. But I don't think there's any real competition when you really think about it, for us anyway here. That's best open world, because man, it's nuts. That one's crazy.
It is.
Yeah. All right, it's finally time to get into our movie category, which we only have two. I talk about not doing worst game because I feel like I have more of a connection with a lot of games, and I feel kind of bad when I'm like, oh, it's the worst game, and people have been working on it for years. But movies can be the same thing. However, there are some things out there that you shouldn't see, because the only way to interact with it is just to watch it. With a bad game, at least you can maybe find some sort of solace in that. Like you get to control a character, you might get to do whatever. These movies are so bad, or just something that have made us so frustrated, so much consternation. I don't know if you should see them. Our contenders, as it were, or nominees for worst movie of 2018 are, oh man, this is a bad list: Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, The Predator, and The Happy Time Murders. And the Critty goes to
Oh.
Are you good over there? I feel like someone's there. The Hollywood's coming for us, Joe. I heard a loud bang over there. You good? We good? Anyway, the winner is The Predator.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Joe and I just watched this recently, and we'll get to it. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. It's a cluster, lots of problems. Joe and I will probably watch it together 1,000 more times because even though it sucks, it's the best dinosaurs we're gonna get. But the writing, the actors, they're not bad actors. It's just that like the characters just aren't great or compelling at all. Blue is the best character because Blue actually makes more choices and decisions and has more growth than anybody.
They just turned Blue into basically your police canine. You know,
kind of, but then at the end she's all like, screw you, man, which I liked. I feel like Predator and Happy Time Murders are in that same group though, and Joe hasn't seen this, but I can attest to it. Happy Time Murders is swearing, puppets doing bad things, and it's supposed to be like and while that is really
chuckle, they made it funny.
Yeah, and while that is annoying, and I'm not a huge fan of that, and I love just like the regular Muppets and stuff, and it feels kind of offensive that Jim Henson's son is like doing these movies now. The Predator is the worst written film I think we've seen in a long time, Joe. Isn't that right? Because like it is so bad.
Very correct. They took a beloved sci-fi icon. And listen, not all the Predator movies were great. I think the Predator movies have done better than the Alien movies in some regards, but you know, the AVP movies, maybe we won't blur into those so much because those get kind of, they're okay. They're not that great. They're better than this. This was, the writing was piss poor. People swear for no reason. The casting for characters was absolutely atrocious. It was freaking weird. There's no, it's just sloppy. Olivia Munn does a commendable job in this film.
With what she's given.
She should have read the script and walked away. I think she deserves better. I actually think she's a decent actor. I think she's better than this, so I'm not going to look down upon her for doing the film. Maybe she held out hope as something like I did, but you know, they take advantage of her sexuality in the movie for apparently no reason, from what I can tell. It just seems stupid. It's just,
we should say sex appeal because there's not like any bit in here where she's like either into a man or a woman. It's just like, how do we get her naked in this scene, but not show anybody anything? But still, it's just like, it was so weird. It's like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. In her interaction with the gang of dweebos,
that's a good way of putting
it. I'm like, what? Stupid.
Yeah. The story is really bad. The CGI is not super great. Making Thomas Jane a character that has Tourette's and likes to say really bad things and confuse people and have everyone be a psycho and someone that you can't relate to is not very helpful. Making the kid with Asperger's basically have superpowers and then he can understand the predators and all their technology and making him like part of the government eventually. And the
Asperger's is not like the way they portray it in the film at all.
Yeah, it's just, and a lot of movies try to do that. The fact that they made some sort of like Walt Disney World joke within the movie is some sort of like maybe nod to the fact that Disney has and will own the Predator now. So hopefully Disney will do something better with it.
Or just freaking lock it away forever and call her a day.
You took one of my favorite characters or favorite monsters in any movie, and you're like, all right, let's make it scarier by making another version that's bigger and stronger that doesn't wear any armor but has like an exoskeleton underneath, and that just kind of beats people up.
You said it perfectly, Jimmy, and I don't mean to take this line from you, but I need to give you the credit.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to put this on a pedestal for
you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
They took everything that was awesome and appealing about the Predator itself and stripped it away. That's exactly what all the fans wanted. Strip it of the things we liked.
Yeah, because even
if that's what you said while we were watching it, I had to say that.
Well, thank you. And even if I don't like Alien Covenant, at least they didn't take the xenomorph and they they did have that moment where it does do like the little like mimicking Michael Fassbender. But like when the xenomorph finally showed up, I was like, that's the xenomorph. It wasn't like in this movie where
the
they have
xenomorph we all have come to know. And,
yeah, they didn't make like another xenomorph like they kind of do in some of these other movies. But like, it feels like why would you take the Predator and like like oh get rid of the helmet, get rid of the armor, give him a few weapons, but like make him so he's indestructible or it's indestructible. Like shoot it for days, and it's like I could take those bullets. It's just like. It just they made it into too much of a weirdo monster movie, and it doesn't benefit from it. There are almost no redeeming qualities about this film. Some of the gore is okay, some of it's kind of funny, and it's funny when they try to get emotional, like when the two of the crazy guys have to shoot each other. In that moment, it's supposed to be like a really sad moment. It is laughable. It's like
spoiler moment. They're both looking at each other. One's up in the tree with a branch through his chest. The other one's on the ground with what did he have? A knife.
His like stomach exploded or something.
Oh yeah, he's cut in half because he was hanging upside down and got cut in half. And he's just laying there with his bowels hanging out, just like. And they're both looking at each other, and it goes back and forth with the camera, and it goes back to both of them with their guns drawn at each other. It was ridiculous. I literally laughed about it.
Yep, and that's the problem, is that Shane Black is better with comedy. He was in the original Predator, I believe, but directing this movie, I just don't...
Freaking idiot.
He just didn't know... He doesn't understand what makes the Predator cool and scary and intimidating, and I just don't watch this movie ever.
I think this could have been Fox's way of saying, yeah, we're going to destroy this intellectual property for you, Disney. Good luck resurrecting this one.
Yeah, exactly. Disney's like, we'll just hit that reboot button, baby. Just boop, boop. Yep. Yep. Also, the villain in it was weirdly antagonistic, where he would keep hiring Olivia Munn to help him with something and then be like, we have to kill her. It's like, no, you don't.
It was super weird.
Yeah, man. Olivia Munn, you deserve better. You're better than this. I'm telling you that right now.
Explain who those people are.
They're just the government.
Sure.
Yeah.
Generic.
Whatever.
Generic.
Best part of that movie is when Predator's killing everybody in that science lab. That's great.
Actually,
using his gun. I don't know why he uses a gun like this, but he shoots it like this twice. He takes like an M16 or something, and he shoots it like he's like.
Oh yeah, he does like the swiping motion, which is like really.
That's how I play Call of Duty. I'm like. Anyway, Joe, it's time for our last big award here. Last award of the night, and it's a pretty prestigious one, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, let me just make sure the trophy's good and dusted off there.
Are you saying Gal didn't take good care of it?
Sat on a shelf, man. I think her assistant held on to it. I don't even know that she had it.
Do you know what the name of her shelf is, Joe?
What's that?
It's laurels, because it was resting on her laurels. You see what I did there? It was a shelf joke.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Can't all be winners, Joe.
All right, for the moment we've all been waiting for. Stars, why you're here today. Thank you for coming out.
They're still in the audience.
I'm still trying to bring that to real life. Like, yeah, there's people here behind the camera. There isn't, but one day maybe. All right. This trophy here represents the Critty Award, the physical Critty Award, golden spherical spiny thingy. Mm-hmm. This is the golden Critty.
Our colors. Mm-hmm.
Best movie / film of 2018. Without further ado, let's give the rundown, shall we?
Let's.
Late into the year of 2018, we had a tremendous film come out. A film that many said would be garbage. That would have been very similar to the Garbage Island out in the Pacific Ocean. It was not. It wasn't at all. It was, in fact, an all-out crowd pleaser, fan favorite, I would say. Redeemable for the DC universe. Another outstanding film. Right up there with Wonder Woman. Aquaman. Coming out with a vengeance.
Against all odds.
Against all odds. I think a lot of people saw the previews for it and thought, man, that looks a little hokey. I don't know. I was one of those people. Levi, another one of our generals, was one of those people. Mm-hmm. I don't know about Levi, but I was proven wrong. Jimmy, you saw it before me, and you gave me your little 2 cents on it. And I think you were even taken off guard with how good it was or what you thought of it. Am I right?
It was so good that it transcended the fact that the gentleman sitting next to me decided to comment throughout the entire film, which usually makes a film hated in my eyes. But it was even better than that. It superseded the real world, which kudos to you guys. You made one heck of an insane film. Like, come on.
Yeah, on something that's really hard to do and requires quite a bit of CG underwater, floating around, talking to people, and then swimming really fast and stuff like that, and then creating a world underwater, which is even crazier. Hats off to the guys behind the computers because it looked magnificent. It was great. Some standout moments. There were some elements of horror kind of in the midst of the movie. Tastefully done, I might add. We're not talking Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom here, people. And the casting, I think, is great. Jason Momoa, popular in his own right, but he's not Tom Cruise. He's gritty, kind of beastly. And I mean that is a wholehearted compliment. He's a man's man kind of a guy, fun, go lucky kind of guy. And he portrays this character in a light that I think is deserving of the Aquaman name. I think he does it justice and kind of brings it to a new age vibe and appeal. I think, people, teenagers and people of our age, up until the 30s can appreciate that. I went and saw this with my 59, 60-year-old father. I don't know which. It's one of the two. Maybe he's younger. Right? He's 55. I'll go 55. We went to see that movie one night. It was the day before Christmas Eve, actually, a Sunday night. We went and saw that. Significant Others and all that. Went and saw Mary Poppins. Another great film from what I hear. Didn't see it personally. But Aquaman, it even pleased him. He walked out of there with me. I was like, so Dad, tell me what you really thought. Too hokey and crazy for you. He's like, no, that was like Avatar and Indiana Jones making a beautiful baby.
Is that what he said?
No, that's what I said in my mind. But he did say Avatar vibes, and it does. It's got the color and the otherworldliness that really just kind of opens your eyes wide as it pans into this big shot in the underwater Atlantis, and it's breathtaking is one word, but just downright sexy is another. I was worried how they would do justice to something like that and make it seem real, bring that the realism to it and make it relatable. How could these humans be underwater floating around talking and doing all these cool things? Well, they really made it feel possible for the most part. It seemed legit. Just kudos to them for doing something that was tough to do and really bringing it to light. I think they did a good job. Casting, like I said, great. I touched on Momoa. No more need to be said there. Amber Heard, didn't know much of her, but she plays Mira beautifully. She does a great job. No pun intended on the beauty thing. But no, she does a great job. And Willem Dafoe does an excellent job here. Who are our others, Jimmy?
We had the guys who played Orm and Black Manta, who I thought were both really good. I keep forgetting their names, but they're very good.
Oh, they're in the crowd, Jimmy.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.
Joke. We really know your names. We just thought it'd be funny. Just overall excellent. So standout movie, they had to make the list. We have 3 nominees. We really had a tough decision to narrow this one down. I think we were just a little jazzed on something that it's somewhat original. An Aquaman movie has not been done. And,
at least not to this extent.
Not to this extent at all. And this really just kind of took the cake. And it surprised us.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to really see a movie nowadays without kind of having a little bit of a thought going into it. We try to not watch any reviews or anything, but going in, you kind of have a trailer and you have an idea in your mind. You're like, okay. But this one really was like, wow, that was actually pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Enough said about Aquaman, but hats off, guys and gals. All right, next one on the list, Mission Impossible. Jimmy, give us a little rundown. Why did it make the list? What's so great about Mission Impossible?
I get 2 words for you. Tom Cruise. All right, enough said. Tom Cruise.
You heard it, Tom. You heard it, Tom.
We love you, Tom. Tom, you had a bad year last year. You had The Mummy and American Made, both horrible films. But he's coming back. This is where Tom Cruise belongs. This is what I would truly call a movie-going movie. Like you want to see this one in the theaters because not only do they put so much love and effort into trying doing all of these stunts practically, but Tom himself is involved in pretty much all of them. And it really does a good job of bringing you into the moment because he's a sympathetic character. When he does these things, he's just a mortal man, even though he's like a little bit maybe ratcheted up from that. But he does these things and all these death-defying stunts, you feel them in every second of every shot because it's like, man, this is really happening. Like most all of this stuff is like real and it's like, and it is just an adrenaline-fueled thrill ride from start to finish, and there's these twists and turns all the time, and there's some unbelievably good action, a lot of likable characters, and you just can't really go wrong with seeing this at any point, regardless if you're an action fan or not. I think there's something in here for you that you'll enjoy. There's some intrigue, there's some nice callbacks to previous films if you're a longtime fan of the franchise like I am, but you're not going to get completely lost if you watch this one. Yeah, there's some things you might be like, okay, as long as you know who just bad guys are. You're like, bad guys versus good guys. These are good guys, okay. These are bad guys, okay. But yeah, I can't recommend it enough. I think it's a really, really good film, and it's one of the best action films we've had in the past. I would just actually say it's one of the best action films ever. Seriously, it's that good. It's really, really, really good.
Yeah, unless you're a 007 type, in that case, whatever.
Ethan Hunt is better than every James Bond. All right, I'm gonna say that right here, right now. America.
I knew you'd say it.
Except for our UK friends, I love you. You're our only allies. Please don't leave. I love Ethan
originally, but
there's only one Ethan Hunt, Joe. There's like 1,000 James Bond. Give me that one Ethan Hunt any day.
That's true.
That's
true. And they take it to another level of literally making the situation seem impossible.
Yep.
And
every time
they put you on the edge of that seat, and if you can't hang on tight enough, sucks to be you.
Yeah, it's good.
So hats off to you.
All right, Joe. What's next on here? Now I wrote down 4.
Oh, you wrote down 4. Wow.
Because you said you wanted to do more than 3.
All right. Well, next on the list. Did I say that? I don't remember that. Next on the list, we have critically acclaimed, I guess it was. Did I just talk like Yoda?
Yeah, a little bit. That was cool.
We've got none other than Black Panther.
I like how you lean back when you say, like, yeah, Black Panther.
And Black Panther. Jimmy, it makes the list. Why? It was good. For a formulaic startup Marvel film, this is comparable to the Aquaman deal. Comparable. Not as good. Maybe.
Well, depends who you ask, I suppose.
Depends on who you ask. But
I think the thing about this film is that it does a lot of things pretty dang well. It's got a really strong cast, which a lot of these first kind of in the franchise films for Marvel don't always have a super strong cast throughout everybody, because not only were all the heroes great, all the villains really great, maybe one of the best villains in Killmonger we've ever had. But the world was also excellent. There's some fun world building. There's a great soundtrack, but there's also a great musical score to this film as well. And I think the visuals and stuff make it set apart from something like just an Ant-Man or Doctor Strange has got great visuals as well, kind of in a different way. But this one is like, it tries to ground itself in somewhat of reality, kind of using vibranium as the out for everything, being like, well, it's vibranium, so it works. But kind of like building a little mini world in this Marvel Cinematic Universe, which we don't always get a lot of. And I think that is one of the reasons why it was so successful. And also just almost an entirely black cast, except for maybe 1 or 2. We've got, Bilbo and Gollum who were not black, but besides that, which I say Andy Serkis is still one of the best performances in that film. I really think so. Don't even need Everett Ross, but yeah, I think all those reasons make this movie stand out to a lot of people, and I think it deserves a nod for one of the best films of the year for sure. You wouldn't waste your time watching it at least once, I'd say. Yeah.
Right on.
There you go.
All right. Next on the nominee list, Jimmy, a heavy hitter. Avengers: Infinity War.
Oh yeah. You want me to?
Like you forgot.
You want me to talk? You want me to talk about this one? Or you want
I
to
think
talk
we
about
all know why it makes the list. It's an excellent culmination of almost 20 films over the course of 10 years, meeting at a convergence to create one big story.
Yeah.
It connects the dots, and it ends on a cliffhanger. We all knew it was coming, and it's a movie where the bad guy wins.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've gotten to this point and you haven't seen that movie yet, I mean, what are you doing? Go see it. You saw it. You saw it. Listen to yourself. You saw it.
Spoiler alert, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Just downright good casting. Most of the characters have been well established by now. Josh Brolin, kind of a newer addition, playing Thanos, in the limelight now. And then what else do we have that kind of enters in that's a little fresh that we haven't seen before? Is there anything else new besides like Josh Brolin?
Well, the big thing that I think is new is that we have interactions between characters that we've never seen interact before. You have Star-Lord talking with Iron Man. That's fresh. You've got Thor dealing with Groot. True. Like stuff like that, which makes
they've brought
it
this
fresh.
Universe of characters together across the universe.
Yeah.
Literally, what are the chances? Well, pretty good, assuming what they're all involved with. But it's something that it's hard to explain because, maybe one day DC will get to this point. I think they've already kind of tried a little bit, but it's a little different vibes. This is just global scale, no, universal scale for sure. In the way they've just made everything jive and meld together story-wise, it has made this movie even more fulfilling. So, maybe it's an extreme advantage that it has, 19 other films to stand on the back of, but, hats off to them.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's Avengers: Infinity War. Shall I read the winner, Jimmy?
Yes, please.
Envelope, please. Avengers: Infinity War.
Oh my gosh, it got the Critty. I wanted to talk about it more, but we were going to talk about it anyway because it won. Let's just talk just for a second. Special effects. Watching that Doctor Strange fight with Thanos, I think is, for me, maybe the culmination of this film. I know there's a lot more that goes on, and for other people, there's different moments, but that fight alone, it really was a literal feast for the eyes. It is such a spectacle, and seeing like these guys go toe to toe with all these powers and stuff, and making it look so good. Like everything in this movie looks really good. I'm not as big a fan of the nanotech Iron Man suit, but even that still looks cool, and it's got this Blue Beetle aspect to it. And watching all these characters fight together and kind of combo off each other, and having three like separate storylines, like Lord of the Rings, running parallel to one another throughout this film, and then kind of finally converging in the final moments. So cool. Like it's so cool. And like Joe said, 10 years, 20 films of buildup basically to get to this point. Culmination. Does it stand on its own? As well as some of these other ones that we talked about? Maybe not, but at the same time, I think the fact that it even makes any lick of sense that all these guys this movie works at all is such a feat an accomplishment. Yeah, it's such a big deal, especially for everyone working on it behind the scenes, specifically like the Russos, the directors, starting with Winter Soldier, going to Civil War, and then upwards to freaking Avengers, and now going to Endgame after this. So yeah, it's so hard to look at this film and not say it is the best movie of the year for us, because it's just such an achievement. It's really quite a feat to build up to this and have it pay off and not just be like, So yeah, that's why it gets it.
Well, Jimmy, excuse my coughing tonight, by the way, guys. Ugh.
You can't help it.
Been a little under the weather, but film of the year, movie. Which do we prefer? Film.
Film's good. Movie's good too.
Film, maybe a bit more proper.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. You gonna hand it to Josh Brolin now? Is he gonna come up and collect it, or the Russos? It doesn't matter to us, guys.
I want Thanos to come get it. I think that guy and we got something in common. I'd like to meet him.
Yeah.
No, I kid, I joke, but Critty for Film of the Year 2018, Avengers: Infinity War, Marvel's Avengers: Infinity War.
Boom.
This is a valuable trophy. Care for it throughout the next year. Respect it, and win it back next year with Endgame.
Dude, that's true. We might see something we haven't seen before, and that someone's going to take that twice over in the same group. Oh,
Russos, you can pick it up after the awards, or we can have it sent to your room later.
Well, maybe Joe takes it one year and Anthony takes it another year. Like they each take a year with it, and they can hold on to it. Yeah. For people who are watching this, they're saying, "Well, Jimmy, where the heck is the game of the year? Where's the GOTY? You know, is that?" Well, actually, that's going to be a separate video, and that's coming to you soon. Ooh. Will it be what you think it is, or will it be something completely different? Who knows? Who knows?
Do we even hint at any of the nominees? Anything? Nothing? We got nothing for them? We're just going to leave them hanging.
Well, the nominees are, you're going to have to watch the video. You're going to have to watch it. I'm sorry.
Lay it on you. Hard.
Yep.
Boom.
You got to watch it. You got to watch it. You got to share it around, do all that stuff too. But we hope you enjoyed hanging out with us here with the Critties. But please leave your own in the comments below. We do want to know like what your favorite movies, games, all that stuff were of the year, or the worst ones too, or the depressing ones, the disappointing ones, because that's always fun to talk about. Because some people will have some things that speak to them, because this is all art, and art speaks to us all differently. So some people will be touched, or some people will see things and movies that we didn't see or did see, and we just were like, we didn't appreciate that, but they're like, man, I love that movie. So yes, please let us know. But Joe, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap it up. 2 quick little segments. Let's do it here. This segment of the show that I like to call, that you like to call, we all like to call
Timekillers.
That's right. It's time for Timekillers. The games we've been playing, movies we've been watching, TV shows we've been viewing. Joe, I know we haven't really gotten anything super new lately, but like, what have you been killing time with?
I watched Bird Box, but let's face it, who hasn't at this point?
I haven't, but that's okay.
I never expected MGK to be in the movie.
Okay.
Wow. Rap Devil, Eminem's beef partner, whatever you want to call it.
Sure, man. I don't know.
Machine Gun Kelly, he's in the movie. They showed him off in the beginning, and he's there. He's a character. I'm like, what? And he plays the typical what somebody that looks like Machine Gun Kelly would play.
Sure.
Bird Box, decent movie. It's actually pretty good. If you've seen A Quiet Place, don't bother watching it because it's the same thing, just a different sense. I think you can guess what it is by the cover art. Worth a watch. It was good. Next, Aquaman. Saw it, as I said, during the Critty Awards. Loved it. My dad even liked it. So I think if it can do that, it's a good movie. Make an effort to go see it. First, 2D, standard recliner seats. Be comfortable. See it in standard 2D. None of this IMAX bullcrap, although IMAX could be cool. My last experience at an IMAX was in a cramped seat, and I wore a long sleeve. I was an idiot, and it was a whole thing. Be comfortable, enjoy it in 2D. If you like it enough and have the ambition to do it, and theaters close by, go see it a second time in 3D. I think that movie would be worthwhile in 3D. I think it would look really cool and really pop at you, especially with some of the underwater effects and some of the action sequences that they do. I think it would be really cool. The fight with Black Manta, some of the underwater stuff would look really neat, and just give it that extra bit of flair that I think they snuck into the movie quite well, and it works. So, Blackout, of course, has been on there, and hopefully I'll get back into Red Dead soon. Maybe a little Monster Hunter World. I don't know, but I feel the urge to kind of branch out a little bit. So
sure, cool.
That's it for me.
Over here, not too much crazy new. The one thing I do want to mention is I'm still trying to get through all these older Disney films. I watched Sleeping Beauty last night. Here's my issue with Sleeping Beauty. I like it a lot, but both Aurora and Prince Philip in the last bit of that movie, they don't talk ever again. Like, that movie is more about the secondary characters and the villain than it is about like the main character. It's so weird. Except I do love the three good fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Wonderful, fun to watch. They completely ruined them in the updated Maleficent. It's they are so annoying and horrible. But yeah, still, man, that movie holds up. It looks so good. I mean, that animation just timeless. It's just so great. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I've been watching. I've been just kind of, playing games here and there, nothing like super crazy, like playing a little bit of Call of Duty with Joe and some Just Cause 4 I've gotten into a little bit as well, which has been fun.
Entertaining, I will say. I tuned into the stream on Monday.
It is fun to play, and it's fun to have people join me and just start saying, like, you should do this, tether this to that, and it's physics-based games. Are
still waiting for the rocket cow, but whatever.
I'm not going to do it, Joe. I don't want to hurt animals. Don't want to do it. But now, well, that's pretty much it for me. Nothing super crazy.
Anything else on the Switch, Jimmy?
Not right now. I've still been playing a little Super Smash Brothers here and there, but with Switch, it's kind of like you get a game that pops up every once in a while, and then you play that, and they port a new game. I want to get like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and some of these older games, just because they'd be kind of cheaper and they'd be really fun to play. But
I have a coworker who bought it for his family, and they played it all over Christmas break, and I'm pretty sure, isn't there some library that you can purchase and that has all?
Yeah, there's like a Nintendo library that you can go back and play through, which, for me, I don't really enjoy like the 16-bit games. I'm sorry, I just don't.
I get it.
It's too far back. It's too far back for me, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, let's move forward. But yeah, it's a great holiday game. Great game if you have like more people, like roommates or family members to play, games with. But right now, it's usually just me.
Oh.
That's okay. I'll play it. We're gonna play Super Smash Bros. With the community soon, so it's gonna be fine.
Good.
Yeah, well, we're gonna kick it. It's gonna be great. I think I'm just gonna commentate that one. It's gonna be great. So now it's time to move into my favorite segment of the show: community feedback and questions. Joe, I'd asked our lovely Legionnaires a very specific question. This is really funny to me. So I had asked, if there was any hyper specific category that anybody had that they wanted to talk about. And we got this one in from Beaten Down Brian, and he said top 5 meowment moments in Monster Hunter World. He wasn't very serious about it, but I was thinking about it. And you know what? I can come up with 5. I think, or the two of us can come up with 5. They don't have to be
Monster Hunter World, huh?
They don't have to be in any specific order, but Meowscular Chef just in general, making you some food,
Right.
The tail raiders, when you deploy them from that forward research base, there's the 3 of them, and they all kind of jump and they wave at you, and they grab onto that basket, and then they go like flying, and they go even faster, like holding on.
Excellent indeed. Excellent.
The moment when your Palico saves you from almost death, because sometimes they don't, but when they do, in that moment where they throw that bigger wasp on you and they save you from almost death, you're like, you did your job. On you, buddy.
I've got some good ones locked up, Jimmy.
All right, now you go. I did 3.
Anything with Zora Magdaros in it is pretty epic.
It has to be Meowscular, the cat.
It has to be cat related?
That's why I said it has to be. That's why I said yeah, man. But I like that. It's
monumental moments for Monster Hunter World. I just all right. Fine.
Meow. How did he put it? He said meowments. Top 5 meowments. So it's like a cat joke.
Anytime that your Palico knocks you out of a stun.
Dude, that's sick too. He runs up just like with a hammer. I love it.
But thank you.
I love it when they're yelling like their little things that say like, oh, the recharge time is going. They're like, I can't do that. My paws are full at the moment. Or they'll be like, yeah, coming right up, sir. Or your little Palico butler that's hanging out in your room when he's like, oh, hi, Meowster, or whatever. He's like, oh, how can I help you today? And you're like,
yeah.
I love it. It's great. All right. Let's get a question here. Missile Mage always throwing us great questions. Joe, this comes in from our Discord. All right. If you could have any action movie character join the Avengers for a movie, which character and which Avengers would they interact with?
Wait, any character from any movie join the Avengers?
Yeah, man. Which action movie character?
Yeah, I think they need to get Aquaman in there, show them how it's done. No, I'm just kidding. Wouldn't oh my God, why am I forgetting his name in the movie?
Uh,
Just Mission Impossible.
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt, yeah.
Dude, that's
Ethan
what I'd
Hunt
pick.
in it. Really?
Yeah, dude. Okay, here's the reason why he'd be so great. He does things that like the normal humans on the team haven't even tried yet. Like Hawkeye and Black Widow haven't tried like doing that crazy like stunt on the building or stuff like that. And they'd be like, is he just like he's like a normal guy? Like you'd have like Tony who's always checking out his vitals and being like, it doesn't make any, how do you do this stuff? And he's like, it's a mission. You just fulfill the mission. Like that's all he would do. That's how he talked to people. Oh my gosh. I think he'd be so good because he'd just be so straightforward. He'd be like, all right, so you can turn into a big green Hulk thing, right? He'd be like, we can use that. I could use that. And then he'd kind of like walk away and he'd be like formulating this crazy
But
plan.
I want him to have his team along for the ride. Like he shows up and it's kind of like a Guardian situation and his team standing behind him in the shadows. And he's like, I've accepted the mission.
I will meet you halfway. I'll say you can have Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg, but they can only be in tech. They have to be in the background and they have to be like working at like Shield HQ or whatever.
Yes, I don't mean out there swinging fists and stuff. Yeah, but the backup for the plans that he brings up, you know.
That's I think it'd be cool because like if any of like the Avengers got captured, he'd be like, oh no, they're gonna like have a problem, but then it'd be like Cap would like fight his way out of it, and he'd be like, you're very competent for a teammate. Like, you know, there'd be a lot of like, it'd be like, how do you like Cap would even be amazed at the stuff this guy could do. He's like, you're just a dude. Be like, be making a new super soldier serum based on this guy. Just like, oh man, I love him. Yeah, that's what I'd pick though. That's, you kind of beat me to it, Joe, but Ethan Hunt for sure.
Sorry.
That's okay. We're both picking him.
Huh? How about Venom, huh?
Well, he said action hero. So like, I'm thinking like regular person.
Whatever, man. Tom Hardy could be an action hero, could be Venom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Bring it to life, please.
Let's do Mad Max from the recent one, and so you have Mad Max join the team.
We're just getting one.
No, that'd be great.
I want Venom in the Avengers. I
would love it because Joe, it's supposed to be like a brain activity here. We can't just say Venom for every answer for everything. It'd be like favorite Christmas song, Venom. Like, you know, it's like you gotta
Venom.
So you got Mad Max on the team, right? But he doesn't talk a lot, and he's just like he's surprised at the world that he's in, right?
I didn't even like that movie that much. I don't
watch it again, man. It's not that bad. It's good. It's good. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up the show there because I feel like we're just gonna devolve into trying to find. It'll be like someone. Why did you say John McClane? Why did you say John McClane?
Did you say John McCain?
No, I didn't. No. John, no, McClane.
Oh.
Everybody's favorite Lethal Weapon superstar. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining us for the show. If you guys ever have a topic or a question or any feedback you have on the Critties or critical reviews at large, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to either of us. You can tweet at our official account, which is at GoCritical, or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyKid013. But if you'd like to tweet something specifically or something spicy to Joe, you can tweet at.
I like spicy things. At Lever_627. That's Lever just like Beaver, only with an L.
That is correct. If you'd like to support the show and actually show it off in real life, you can go over to our Spreadshirt. It's an excellent place to grab a shirt or a hat, because guess what? We're going to have plenty of that, more so on the channel this year. I'm going to be wearing more of that stuff because I need to do that.
It's good stuff.
Got to get an It's All Citrus shirt. I think it's going to start up a lot of conversations. People are going to be like, so you run like an orange channel? Is it about oranges? I feel like,
I kind of like it too. It's appealing. It kind of has a cool aesthetic to it. Kind of.
Did you say appealing, Joe? Did you make a fruit pun? Oh,
maybe a little bit.
Bravo.
On your shelf joke.
Yeah, well, hey, the Laurel joke kind of works, but then it makes me think of Oliver Queen and Green Arrow. It's like, Laurel. Spoiler alert, she's dead.
What? I haven't seen that season.
Or is she? The whole multiverse thing, no one's really dead in that show ever, so don't worry about it. Anyway, I want to thank a few people for supporting us and making this show possible. I'd like to thank This Is Daleb for doing our intro and outro music, our theme, and I want to thank the one and only Yoran Evers, who's making pretty much all the art you see here on the channel. If you'd like to support us and him, you should go check him out over at Neurage28 or at Jade Circle Art. Give his stuff a like, check him out. He's great. He's working on a comic that's supposed to see the light of day this year, and here's a brief synopsis for it. Where David opens a mysterious box that transforms his arm into an alien weapon. He at first uses it for good to right the wrongs of his high school, but as more of his body is transformed, he finds that playing God comes with his own set of new, self-destructive perils. Venom, Chronicle, Blue Beetle, all synonyms to it. It's excellent. Go check his progress out over on those things and let him know that Jimmy and Joe sent you. But if you'd like to support this channel in the biggest and best way possible, consider donating to us over at patreon.com/criticalreviews. If you're watching this and you watch us throughout the year, consider throwing us $1. If you're throwing us $2 or $1, consider throwing us $2 potentially. If you can't donate at all, that's totally fine. But I would also ask that maybe you just share us around. But if you're like a really high spender and you want us to talk about us each week or talk about you each week, we talk about ourselves plenty. Donate $100 and we'll be talking about you every week. We'll do a little your picture will pop up here. We'll talk about your business or whatever. It's like a built-in ad because that's great. Everybody would love that, wouldn't you, Joe? Everyone would do it. I'm sure someone will do it again eventually. Anyway, but Joe, seriously, thank you. You've been on pretty much all the episodes that you could be this year. We've had a lot of amazing guests. Thank you to them too. But thank you, Joe. Thank you to Levi, who might be watching, listening to this. But you guys make the show just so much. Like, it's just fun to talk with you. I love it.
Thank you, Jimmy. It has been an excellent year, hasn't it? Looking back, it's been a great time with you and all of the Legion. The Critties. Huh? Great. Somebody's taking this award home, this bad boy. Huh? See it next year. We'll see you next year. And then off to another great, prestigious winner. Momo, I see you drinking those Guinness. Save me, somebody. Huh? Tom, don't you drink my damn Guinness. Ladies and gents, it's been a fine 2018. This is Joe cutting out. Looking forward to another great year with all of the Legion. Tom, get off that Guinness.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Just tweet the hashtag Critties to us to let us know that you actually watch this show. And just remember to adapt and overcome. We'll see you in 2019. Bye.